The Hidden Chamber of Desolation. It all started on a gloomy autumn afternoon when my curiosity got the better of me. My family and I had just moved into an ancient mansion, inherited from a distant relative. The place was old, eerie, and shrouded in mystery. As we began to explore our new home, my eyes caught a glimpse of a peculiar wall in the basement. It looked slightly out of place, as if there was a hidden door behind it. Unable to resist the allure of the unknown, I knew I had to find out what lay behind that enigmatic wall. Late at night, while the household slept, I ventured into the basement with a flashlight and a feeling of trepidation. After carefully examining the suspicious wall, I discovered a concealed latch. My heart pounded in my chest as I pressed it, and to my astonishment, the wall swung open, revealing a narrow, dimly lit passageway. My curiosity now gave way to a rush of adrenaline, and I crept further into the darkness. The passageway seemed endless, winding and twisting deeper into the bowels of the mansion. As I walked, the air grew colder, and the walls dripped with moisture. It was as if I had entered another world, a world untouched by time, full of secrets waiting to be unveiled. Finally, I reached the end of the passage, and there before me was a hidden chamber, an ominous room that seemed to have been forgotten by time itself. The chamber was small, suffused with an eerie glow emanating from an unknown source. Strange symbols adorned the walls, etched in blood-red paint, and an inexplicable unease settled in the pit of my stomach. In the center of the chamber stood a decrepit wooden pedestal on which rested an ancient book, its pages weathered and faded. My hand trembled as I reached for it, and as I opened it, the strange symbols inside began to dance before my eyes. Though I couldn't decipher the language, I couldn't tear my gaze away from the pages, as if they were calling out to me, urging me to uncover their mysteries. As I delved deeper into the book's pages, I became aware of a sinister presence around me. Shadows seemed to move on their own, and whispers echoed in the darkness. Panic threatened to consume me, but I was compelled to continue reading. The more I read, the more I felt a connection with the malevolent forces that had been trapped within this hidden chamber for eons. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, and the chamber itself seemed to tremble. I knew then that I had made a grave mistake, that I had meddled with something beyond my comprehension. My heart pounded in my ears as I tried to close the book, but it refused to budge from my grasp. The symbols on the walls began to glow brighter, and the chamber filled with an otherworldly energy. A haunting figure materialized before me, draped in tattered robes and adorned with grotesque ornaments. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural malevolence, and I could feel its malefic intent piercing through my soul. My voice caught in my throat, and all I could do was stare, paralyzed with terror. The entity spoke in a language unknown to me, its voice a cacophony of sinister tones. It demanded retribution for disturbing its long-forgotten slumber, and I knew then that I was doomed. I tried to escape, but an invisible force kept me rooted to the spot. The room grew colder, and my breath formed mist in the air. In my desperation, I dropped the book, hoping it would release me from its grip. As it clattered to the floor, the entity let out a spine-chilling wail, and the walls of the chamber began to close in on me. The symbols glowed brighter still, and I felt an excruciating pain surge through my body. As the walls closed in around me, I realized my fate was sealed. I had awakened an ancient evil, and now it was exacting its revenge. In my final moments, I could only pray that my family would heed the warning and never venture into the hidden chamber of desolation. And so, the mansion stood, holding its dark secret, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to stumble upon its malevolent mysteries. The hidden room had claimed its latest victim, and its hunger for more would never be sated.
The Locker Room Haunting. My name is Megan, and I'm a high school athlete. Our school had an old, eerie locker room that was notorious for strange occurrences. The stories surrounding it always gave me goosebumps, but I never believed in ghosts or hauntings. That is until that fateful day when everything changed. It was a gloomy Friday afternoon, and I had stayed late to practice for an upcoming game. As I was about to leave, my friend Jenna persuaded me to stay a bit longer and chat. Reluctantly, I agreed, but the atmosphere in the locker room felt unsettling. Jenna giggled nervously, saying, "You know, they say this place is haunted. Can you imagine? Ghosts in a locker room?" I rolled my eyes. "Come on, Jenna, don't start with that stuff. It's all made up to scare us." Just then, the lights flickered and we both jumped. Jenna looked at me with wide eyes, and I tried to brush it off as a mere coincidence. But when the lockers started rattling, I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. Panic began to bubble in my chest. "Okay, this is freaky," Jenna whispered, her voice trembling. Before I could respond, a loud crash echoed through the room, and we spun around to find one of the locker doors swinging open and shut on its own. My heart raced as Jenna and I exchanged terrified glances. Ignoring the fear that threatened to paralyze us, we rushed to the door, but it wouldn't budge. Trapped inside the locker room, the realization sank in that there might be something truly paranormal happening. The air around us felt heavy and suffocating. As we turned back toward the lockers, an ominous mist began to rise from the floor, swirling like ghostly tendrils. Whispers filled the air, incomprehensible yet unsettling. We clung to each other, seeking comfort in each other's presence. "We need to find a way out," Jenna said, her voice quivering. "Maybe there's another exit we missed." We searched frantically, but the room seemed to shift around us, like a maze designed to keep us trapped. The walls seemed to close in, and the shadows danced ominously, mocking our attempts to escape. In a desperate attempt to find an exit, I stumbled upon an old wooden door hidden behind some lockers. Jenna and I exchanged a hopeful glance, but as I reached for the handle, the door swung open violently, revealing a pitch-black void beyond. A low, guttural growl echoed from the darkness, and terror gripped us like a vice. It felt like the locker room itself was alive and malevolent, feeding off our fear. Jenna and I backed away, our hearts pounding in our chests. "We can't go through there," Jenna whispered, her voice trembling. It's not right." She was right. Whatever lay beyond that door was not meant for the living. But with no other options, we had to face the unknown. As we stepped into the darkness, an overwhelming feeling of dread consumed us. The door slammed shut behind us, sealing us in darkness. We fumbled for our phones and turned on their flashlights, revealing an eerie sight. The space beyond the door was nothing like the locker room we knew. It was an otherworldly realm, twisted and filled with malevolence. As we walked further, we encountered glimpses of spectral figures lurking just beyond the edge of our vision. Whispers surrounded us, growing louder and more sinister. Each step seemed to take us deeper into a nightmarish realm. "I'm scared, Megan," Jenna sobbed. "We shouldn't have come here." "I know," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. "But we have to find a way out. We can't stay here." But escape seemed impossible. The walls shifted and the path twisted, leading us in circles. The air grew colder, and an oppressive sense of hopelessness weighed on our shoulders. Suddenly, a booming voice echoed through the void, sending shockwaves through our bodies. "Leave this place, trespassers! The locker room is mine, and you shall never escape!" We turned to see a towering, shadowy figure emerge from the darkness. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and a sinister grin stretched across its face. With newfound determination, I grabbed Jenna's hand, and we ran as fast as we could, blindly navigating the shifting maze. The whispers intensified, and the malevolent presence chased us relentlessly. In a final desperate effort, we burst through the door, finding ourselves back in the real locker room. Without looking back, we sprinted outside, gasping for breath and trembling with fear. From that day on, the locker room remained abandoned, and the school tried to forget the horrors that lurked within. But Jenna and I knew better. We had witnessed something beyond comprehension, a haunting that had scarred us forever. The haunted locker room served as a chilling reminder that some places are better left undisturbed, for the darkness that dwells within can consume the souls of the curious and the brave. And though we escaped that day, we knew that the malevolent presence still lingered.
The Silent Forest Ritual. I'm David, and I've always been drawn to the unknown. It was this curiosity that led me deep into the heart of the Silent Forest, a place rumored to be cursed and shrouded in darkness. As I stepped between the ancient trees, the air grew thick with unease, and a sense of dread settled over me. I had heard whispers of a forbidden ritual that could grant you a glimpse into the hidden realms, but at a grave cost. The legends warned of spirits that hungered for the souls of the living, waiting to seize any opportunity to break through the barriers between worlds. Yet, fueled by a mixture of curiosity and foolishness, I sought out the ritual's location, a desolate clearing in the heart of the forest. The sky overhead was overcast, casting an eerie gray pallor over the landscape. I felt a chill run down my spine as I entered the clearing. In the center lay an ancient stone altar, covered in faded symbols and surrounded by gnarled trees that seemed to whisper secrets of their own. With trembling hands, I lit the candles that lined the altar, their feeble flames casting dancing shadows around me. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying with it a mournful sigh that seemed to echo the cries of long-forgotten souls. I followed the instructions I had found in an old, weathered book, drawing the symbols in the dirt, reciting the incantation in a hushed voice. The air grew colder, and a heaviness settled over the clearing as if the very forest held its breath. As I finished the incantation, the flames of the candles flickered wildly, and a deep silence descended upon the clearing. It was as if the entire forest was waiting, holding its breath, anticipating what would come next. And then, it began. The ground trembled beneath my feet, and the air seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly energy. A soft, distant hum filled the air, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. Shadows danced around me, twisting and contorting as if they were alive. I felt a presence, an intangible force that seemed to watch me from the shadows. Fear gnawed at my insides, but curiosity and a morbid fascination held me in place. The hum grew into a haunting melody, a symphony of whispers that seemed to echo from all directions. The world around me blurred, and I felt myself slipping into a trance-like state. It was as if the forest itself was drawing me deeper into its depths, into a realm where reality and illusion melded together. Then, I saw them. Figures emerging from the shadows, their forms shifting and changing like smoke. They were ethereal and beautiful, but there was an emptiness in their eyes, a hunger that sent shivers down my spine. They beckoned to me, their voices a seductive melody that promised secrets beyond imagination. Torn between fear and curiosity, I took a hesitant step forward. With each step, the forest seemed to close in around me, the shadows reaching out like grasping hands. The figures surrounded me, their whispers growing louder, drowning out all other thoughts. "Join us," they murmured, their voices like a siren's song. "Embrace the unknown. Leave behind the world of the living." But in the midst of their enticing promises, a primal instinct rose within me, a voice that screamed that I was in danger, that the ritual had awakened something dark and malevolent. With a surge of willpower, I tore my gaze away from the figures and stumbled backward. The forest erupted in a cacophony of anguished wails, and the figures contorted and twisted, their beauty replaced by grotesque forms. The ground beneath me shook violently, and a wave of energy surged through the clearing, as if reality itself was unraveling. I ran, my heart pounding in my chest, the forest a blur of shadows and darkness around me. The wind howled, and the whispers of the spirits echoed in my ears, their voices filled with anger and desperation. Finally, I burst through the edge of the forest, my breath ragged and my body trembling. The forest behind me fell silent, the wails and whispers fading into nothingness. I collapsed onto the ground, my mind reeling from the horrors I had witnessed. Since that day, I've been haunted by nightmares, visions of those twisted figures and the haunting melody that once seduced me. The forest itself seems to call out to me, its whispers a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks within. I've tried to warn others, to share my story and prevent them from falling victim to the cursed ritual. But there's a pull, a curiosity that draws them in, just as it drew me. The silent forest is a place of darkness and secrets, a realm where the line between reality and nightmare is blurred. So if you ever find yourself tempted by the unknown, remember my story. Beware the allure of forbidden rituals and the call of the shadows, for once you enter the realm of the silent forest, there may be no escape from the bone-chilling horrors that await.